My fiancé left me at the altar and ran away with my cousin. I never thought I'd be telling this story, because even now it still hurts to put it into words. I had always dreamed of my wedding day. Since I was a little girl, I pictured myself walking down the aisle in a white dress, surrounded by family and friends, ready to marry the man I believed was the love of my life. And for a long time, everything seemed to be falling into place, as if that dream really was going to come true. His name was Daniel. I met him in college, in a class I almost didn't take because it didn't fit into my schedule. He was sitting in the back row with that calm smile and the kind of eyes that seemed to cut right through you. From the very first moment, he made me feel seen, like I was different from everyone else. It didn't take long before we started talking. First about assignments, then about books and music, and eventually about life itself. Daniel became my first great love, and I was convinced he would also be my last. He had a way of making me feel safe. Like with me, he could simply be himself. We spent 5 years together, building memories, fighting through arguments, and dreaming about our future. So when he proposed, surrounded by lights, music, and so much joy, I thought it was the confirmation that everything I had ever believed in was true. I thought we were destined. Planning the wedding was chaos, the kind of chaos that every couple goes through. We argued about the budget, the guest list, even the color of the flowers. But in the back of my mind, I always thought, none of this matters. What matters is that in the end, we'll be together. I never imagined how naive that thought really was. My cousin Camilla had always been part of my life. We grew up together like sisters. We shared secrets, clothes, laughter, and tears. I trusted her more than anyone else because she was family, because she was like an extension of me. When I told her Daniel had proposed, she was one of the first to cry tears of joy. She helped me choose my wedding dress. She planned my bachelorette party. She even rehearsed the walk down the aisle with me. I never once suspected anything, because why would I? She was my cousin, and he was the man I loved. The morning of the wedding, the sun was shining. I remember waking up with butterflies in my stomach, but also with the purest happiness I had ever felt. My mom cried as she helped me into my dress. My friends told me how beautiful I looked. And all I could think about was Daniel, waiting for me at the altar. When the church doors opened, my heart pounded in my chest. I walked forward slowly, holding back tears of joy, smiling as I looked at all the people who had come to celebrate us. But then, something felt wrong. Daniel wasn't there. At first, I thought maybe he was just late, that something had delayed him on the way. But minutes passed and the silence grew heavier. Guests exchanged worried glances, whispers filled the air, and the joy I felt began to crack. Still, I tried to convince myself he would appear at any second. Then my brother walked into the side room, his face pale and tense. I will never forget the way he looked at me before he spoke, his voice trembling. He's gone. With Camilla. In that instant, it felt like the entire world collapsed around me. When my brother's words sank in, I felt like my entire body froze. My mind couldn't process it. I actually laughed. An empty, broken laugh, because I thought it had to be some kind of twisted joke. Daniel, the man I loved, the man I was about to marry, wouldn't just leave. And certainly not with Camilla, my cousin, my best friend since childhood. That was impossible. But then I saw the pity in my mother's eyes, the whispers spreading through the crowd, and reality slammed into me. It was true. He was gone. And she was gone with him. I don't remember how long I stood there in my wedding dress, trembling, staring at the floor while my guests looked at me in shocked silence. My father tried to guide me out of the church, but I pulled away, shaking my head. I couldn't move. I couldn't breathe. My dream, my future, everything I had built in my mind had just been destroyed in front of everyone. I finally collapsed into a chair in the side room, and the tears came all at once. Ugly, uncontrollable sobs that made my chest ache. I kept repeating the same words over and over. Why? How could they do this to me? Why today? Why her? No one had answers. There were none. Later that night, after most of the guests had left, I sat in my room still wearing the dress, makeup smeared across my face. I scrolled through my phone, desperate for a message, an explanation, something. but there was nothing. No text from Daniel, no call, not even a word from Camilla. They had both disappeared completely, as if I meant nothing. The following days were hell. Everyone in my family whispered about it. Neighbors sent messages of sympathy, and friends tried to comfort me, but deep down, I felt humiliated. Abandoned, betrayed in the cruelest way imaginable. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. And the image of them together haunted me. Then, a week later, I saw the first picture. Someone tagged Camilla on social media. She was smiling, her hand intertwined with Daniel's. They weren't hiding. They weren't ashamed. They looked happy. My heart shattered all over again. How could she? How could he? At first, I wanted to scream, to curse their names, to throw my phone against the wall. But eventually, the anger turned into something worse. Silence. I shut myself away, avoiding everyone. My mom begged me to talk. My friends tried to drag me out, but I felt like a shadow of myself. The worst part wasn't just losing Daniel. It was realizing that I had lost Camilla too. My cousin, my sister in everything but blood. The person I trusted most had stolen the man I thought I would spend my life with. And I couldn't stop asking myself the same question. When did it start? Was it during the wedding planning? Before that? Had all those moments of helping me been lies? Was I blind all along? I needed answers. And as much as it terrified me, I knew I couldn't hide forever. If I wanted to survive this, I had to confront the truth, whether I was ready or not. I finally gathered the courage to confront them 2 weeks later. My hands shook as I drove to the apartment Daniel and I had once planned to share. The same apartment he was now living in with her. Every mile closer felt heavier, like I was dragging the weight of my broken heart with me. When I knocked on the door, it was Camilla who opened it. Her smile froze the moment she saw me. Behind her, Daniel appeared, looking pale and uncomfortable. For a second, no one said anything. The silence was suffocating. Why? My voice cracked as the word escaped. Why would you do this to me? Daniel looked away, but Camilla stepped forward. I didn't mean for it to happen, she whispered. We didn't plan this. We just fell in love. Those words burned more than anything. We didn't mean for it to happen. As if love excused betrayal. As if stealing the man I loved was something that just happened. I turned to Daniel, my fiancé. No, my ex-fiancé. You could have told me. You could have ended it before humiliating me in front of everyone. Why wait until the altar? He rubbed his forehead, avoiding my eyes. I'm sorry. I was a coward. I didn't want to hurt you, but I couldn't marry you when my heart was somewhere else. Somewhere else. With her. My cousin. I felt something inside me break, but this time it wasn't just pain. It was clarity. I realized in that moment that I didn't need their apologies. They weren't enough, and they never would be. No explanation could erase the betrayal, the public humiliation, or the years of lies. I straightened my back, wiped the tears from my cheeks, and said the hardest words I've ever had to say. You both made your choice. So now I'm making mine. You're dead to me. Their faces went pale. Camilla reached for me, but I stepped back. For the first time in weeks, I felt powerful. I wasn't going to beg for love. I wasn't going to fight for people who had already betrayed me. I left their apartment without looking back. The night air felt cold on my skin, but for the first time since the wedding, I could actually breathe. The healing wasn't instant. The rumors, the whispers, the judgment, they followed me for months. But slowly, I built myself back up. I leaned on true friends, on the parts of my family that still respected me, and on the strength I didn't even know I had. Now, when I look back, I don't see Daniel or Camilla as villains in my story. I see them as lessons. Painful ones, yes, but necessary. They showed me that love without loyalty is nothing. They showed me that betrayal can come from the closest people. And most importantly, they showed me that I am stronger than I ever believed.
If this story kept you hooked until the very end, don't forget to subscribe to Storybar, give this video a like, share it with your friends, and leave a comment below. Your support helps us bring you even more stories full of drama, betrayal, love, and life-changing decisions. Don't miss the next one.